I want to talk about overwhelm and safety, simplicity, attuning the nervous system, or attuning to the needs of a nervous system to help us to heal from trauma. So this is kind of the realm I'm working in quite a lot at the moment, mostly with myself, my own nervous system, and also with others, communicating with others about this as well. And it seems to be clear that certainly in my own life, it's difficult to recognize when I'm overwhelmed. Now, when I'm talking about overwhelm, I'm not just talking about that feeling of, oh, I've got too much work, this is too much, I can't deal with it. That is a type of overwhelm. What I'm talking about here is the nervous system being overwhelmed and being unable to regulate, which results in pretty severe symptoms a lot of the time, especially if it's due to, or the nervous system's been traumatized over years. Yeah, that overwhelm can result in like chronic pain, feelings of desperation, days, weeks, months of crying, sometimes like craving for substance misuse or relapse. There's a lot of symptoms that can come with overwhelm. Now, the difficulty for the traumatized nervous system, or people that suffer with traumatization, is we can't really spot overwhelm. We have spent so many years in a permanent, hypervigilant survival state of fight, flight or freeze. Our nervous system is just up here all of the time. It's like, it feels like a normal state of being. So our bandwidth of nervous system regulation is very, very thin, and it's really, really, like I said, high up on the overwhelm scale. It's very close to overwhelm anyway. As opposed to people with healthy nervous systems, people that don't suffer with traumatization, they've got this ability to inhabit different states very quickly. So they too, most people, in fact, I say they too, because that's not necessarily my situation, but most people that aren't traumatized, they're able to move from a state of vigilance, readiness, which is appropriate. And then when that readiness isn't needed anymore, the nervous system regulates. They're able to just move back into relaxation, let's say, or availability, connection with others, those kind of things. The hypervigilant, traumatized nervous system doesn't really do that. It's got very little flow and flex, really. It just stays in these states of hyperarousal and kind of flips between fight, flight, freeze, and sometimes collapse. And that's exhausting in itself. But that too can be overwhelmed very, very quickly. And recognizing when this situation, this set of circumstances, what I'm doing is too much to deal with, and it's causing me further pain, further traumatization. It's really hard to spot. And it's hard to spot because it can sometimes feel like healing. So for me, an example is, I feel myself like crying a lot and almost like I'm tending to a really broken part of me with love. Now, in normal kind of regulated doses, that's really beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. If I spend 3 days, 4 days in that state of hyper arousal, like deep sorrow and loss and pain and pouring out, with feelings of maybe anger and despair involved as well, that is a good sign of an overwhelmed nervous system struggling to regulate. But for many years I thought, oh, this is great, I'm getting it out, I'm healing, I'm getting it, I'm going through it, this is the good stuff, this is the juice. And I didn't realize that actually a lot of the time it's just poking an already very sore wound and preventing it from healing. So what I've been working with recently is trying to get some attention, paying attention to just what's my body doing, what kind of states am I in often, and are they symbolic or symptomatic of overwhelm? So if I find myself after a day or two just like crying, feeling that really heartbreaking desperation, sorrow feeling going on, it's a pretty good sign to me that actually this is too much, and it's not necessarily doing me any good. The challenge there then is, well, what do you do about it? Because I didn't really get any tools, or I didn't really know any tools of how to deal with that. So if I notice I'm in overwhelm, or my already hypervigilant nervous system is being further overwhelmed by life or internal feelings unfolding, what can I do? Well, I would say, softest, gentlest and most appropriate and kind thing to do is attune towards simplicity and safety. And those two things go really hand in hand. If you think about an overwhelmed nervous system that suffers from complex trauma, that's too much complication, there's too much stimulus, too much. So simplicity is the key. The nervous system is crying out for just simplicity. How can we strip back, or how can us, that are going through this kind of process, how can we strip back the stimulation of the moment to really simplify the situation? And how can I move towards safety at the same time? Simple, safe environments with simple, safe connections with people that I love and trust. And it's hard because a lot of the time I've been experimenting, you could say, to try and find out what those are, and sometimes I get it wrong. Sometimes I think, right, okay, well, that's where safety is, and that further overwhelms me. So it takes a lot of attunement to recognize where I can find that safety. But I think reducing complexity is always a good start, and speaking to others, like helping yourself by being in the company of others that care about you, is really, really powerful. What it has been for me, as the inclination of the overwhelmed nervous system is to hide, is to move away, or I'll say move away, yeah, so like kind of go inwards, not want to share in connection with others. But actually that's often what it needs. So yeah, I've been trying to do that a little bit, trying to connect with people and just be honest about, at the moment, I am overwhelmed, this situation is too much, I cannot be with you in the way that I normally am. And the people around me that love me and know me, they accept that and go, well, that's okay, I don't need anything from you, I can just be alongside you. So that's been useful, The thing is about the overwhelmed nervous system, if we don't learn how to attune towards simplicity and safety, we will never, ever heal those wounds. It's just not possible, because those wounds were wounded because of overwhelm, because of too much danger and not enough safety. So when we're in the midst of exploring those, if there's too much danger and not enough safety, we're just literally opening old wounds. And yeah, they will never really unfold, unbind, release. It's just not possible. We don't have to learn regulation. I mean, there's a lot of people that talk about nervous system regulation. Nervous system regulation is not something that I do, not consciously. it's a natural process. The body regulates itself and co-regulates itself with others, but only when there's simple, safe environments in which to, the body can feel like it can relax. So the job really I say the job, it sounds a bit like utilitarian, doesn't it? But like the role of the journey of trauma healing is learning to attune to what we need. What do I need when I'm feeling deeply overwhelmed and triggered and desperate and I'm crying in this pain? What do I need then? And I would say it's always simplicity and safety. But what that looks like for everybody is different, isn't it? My simple, safe environment is maybe different to your simple, safe environment. So I'm sharing this because it feels useful. I've just had a weekend away on retreat with some wonderful friends, and it's, the traumatized nervous system is, I wouldn't say it's common. Maybe that's not right, but I met a lot of people going through similar processes as me. And it became really apparent that actually we can move into overwhelm really, really quickly and not know what to do. Another thing I say from my point of view as well, one of the things I'm learning to do is to be less in the world. I don't mean with close connection and family and friends, but less like in the world as like on YouTube or engaged in social media, for instance, when my nervous system is feeling like this. There's a part of me that's craving safety and craving connection and love, let's say, but the illusion or the delusion that's keeping me attached to a lot of suffering is thinking I can get it through YouTube, as an example, or through Instagram by posting more and more videos and engaging with more and more people. Not that it's not enjoyable and fun, and I do love it, but actually when I'm in a state of nervous system overwhelm and I'm feeling deep fear, all it does is further, like you can see, it's complex, isn't it? It's more and more complexity. It further prods an already hypervigilant nervous system. So the nervous system's really crying out for simplicity, but what I'm giving it is complexity through lots of different little interactions and putting my persona into the world on YouTube as an example. And it's taken me a while to realize, this isn't any good for me. Sometimes, like, I love sharing, but actually when I feel like this, I need to move away from that. I need to really simplify things. So I've been working with that a little bit recently. So hence there's been a few less videos, and there might be gaps between the things that I put out into the world, because I really want to honor what I'm learning and kind of do what I'm saying, if you know what I mean. So I'm kind of putting out into the world information about trauma healing, but I really want to follow that as well and really honor that as well. So maybe this is a bit rambly. If anyone's stayed with me so far, thank you. But it's certainly becoming very clear to me, and this is kind of backed up by a lot of research as well, not my research, but research in the field of trauma recovery, that an already overwhelmed nervous system, the last thing it needs for healing is further overwhelm. That's not how it heals. In fact, we can't process and push the healing just through will alone. So the skill that really benefits us is learning how to recognize, first of all, I am overwhelmed. This situation is too much. There are clear symptoms that I'm not able to come out of this state very quickly or very easily. I've been up here for so long, like 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, crying, sobbing, feeling defensive, feeling pain in the body, whatever it is, and I can't seem to shift out of it. That's a great example that there's too much. The nervous system cannot handle this situation. So then once that's recognized, then being able to say, well, how do I attune to safety? How do I attune to simplicity? What is it that will bring about more simplicity, more safety in this moment in my life. And then gently moving towards that, not trying to fix ourselves, not trying to heal ourselves, not trying to do anything more complicated than that. Just simplify and just make safe. So thanks for listening. If you've listened so far, and if you've got any questions or if this resonates with you, maybe like stick some in the comments. It'd be nice to hear from you.